All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Coverage. Walsh alongside Paul Zeise. If you need a roof, make sure you call Ireland Contracting. They're the best in the business. 1-800-NEW-ROOF is their number. It's an easy number to remember. I would call them if I need a roof. Paul would call them, so you should too. Give us a call right now on the Borders and Borders hotline. 412-575-2600 is the number. And Paul, you know, every time I look up, every time Tyler Glasnow pitches, he's doing something amazing. First pitcher now to 6 wins in the majors. And
wasn't he pitcher of the month in the American League?
Pitcher in the month in the American League. But if you go back to, and I know you were for too, I was for the trade. Tyler Glasnow needed a new start. Things weren't working out here. I don't think they ever would have worked out here with this group. And, you know, he was kind of the throw-in. Austin Meadows was the main part of that deal. Yeah. But you look back and it makes you think, like, why did they do that? But I was all for the trade.
Let's not forget they threw in
Shane Baz, another number one guy.
So, I mean, when you look at it, really, I mean, people around baseball thought the Pirates gave up way too much for Archer.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, they felt like you don't give up on an arm like Glasnow. It's too early to give up on him. You have a really good young kind of superstar, maybe outfielder in Meadows that you really are kind of giving up early on him. And then, you know, so, but people here, we got to see Glasnow pitch. I mean, he just, between the ears, he wasn't able to really figure out what he needed to do in order to be effective here. And, you know, moving to another place, moving to another city and, you know, getting a different pitching coach to look at, you know, his mechanics and all that stuff, and they have a different philosophy in Tampa. It's worked out for him. But, I was all for the trade because I thought that Archer was a guy that stabilized their rotation. Yeah. And I still think that. I mean, you know, and if you look at what they have in the minors, it seems like they've got a lot of young outfielders, Martin, you know, Reynolds. They've got enough guys that maybe none of them are going to be as good as Meadows, but I think all of them have a chance to be okay. So I know that you know, if you look at it on paper, you say that the Rays fleeced the Pirates, but I think for what the Pirates needed, it was an okay deal, assuming Archer is better than he's been.
Yeah, and you got to remember, Glasnow, I think, was a throw-in to that deal almost. I mean, his value was zero, I think, last year when the Pirates traded.
Well, not
he wasn't
quite
worth it. He wasn't worth too much.
Well, a young guy with that arm is worth something. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, how many stints to the majors did he have that were unsuccessful?
No, I agree, but I'm just saying, a young guy with that arm, he was going to get more opportunities. Put it that way.
All right, let's go out to the phone line. Let's go out to Mike out in Altoona. What's up, Mike? How you doing?
Hi, Rich. Love the show. Love the hair. I love Paul's hair, too. I just wanted to talk about Tyler Glasnow and the whole situation. I don't know if you guys caught it earlier today, but there was a report out that he said he was never comfortable in Pittsburgh. And, you know, quite frankly, this is a big problem with the Pirates organization. They cannot develop talent. Ray Searage, I mean, he's past his prime. I think that was just a bunch of hodgepodge BS, excuse my French, about him developing these pitchers. I just don't feel like that I've seen any development in this organization. To me, Tyon, he might be a 2 or 3 at best, but you see these guys just leave and they just flourish in other organizations. It's time for the Pirates to look at their development and just say it's not working at all. It hasn't worked for years. So I'll just hang up and listen to your comments.
Mike, you make a couple good points here, and I didn't read the story where Glasnow felt he was uncomfortable. But I could see it. I talked to him a bunch of times last year. You could tell.
Yeah, but it was more about he just was never comfortable here with his stuff, never comfortable. He just never felt comfortable with his role. I mean, there was a lot to it. You know, it's like Garrett Cole. People were talking about Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole didn't like it here. You know what I'm saying?
No, he was miserable.
He didn't like the general manager. He wasn't a big fan of the manager. He didn't like the pitching philosophy that was here. He didn't like when they, they jerked him around about
$50,000 fine,
$10,000 or whatever it was. I mean, there was a lot, and he's a California kid, and he didn't like the weather here. I mean, the bottom line is, you know, when it comes to some of these things, sometimes, so he goes to Houston. You know, and he's in nice weather, and they're letting him throw the pitches he wants to throw, whereas here, you know, the philosophy is a little bit different. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why a guy flourished, but I mean, you know, Tyon has been developed, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Williams has been developed here. I mean, Musgrove was much better here than he was in Houston. I mean,
what would you say? He said Ray Searage is past his prime. I don't think so. I think maybe Ray Searage is better with pitchers that need to find themselves, that need to maybe I mean, he's turned pitchers around. But if you give him a high-end pitcher, what success has he had?
I think the big thing with Ray Searage is it's like everything else. Some guys work well with him and his philosophy and what they are asking to do and how the pitches they want him to throw, and other guys don't. I mean, it's really that simple. Some coaches are good with, certain players and not good with others. It's just a matter of, and I think with Cole and with Morton and with Glass now, the one thing that those teams have done that the Pirates never did, they encourage those three guys to throw their best pitch the highest percentage of time, that they throw it. So whereas it wasn't really a philosophy here. So it's different. And you know what? It's turned out it's worked well for those guys elsewhere. But, that doesn't necessarily mean that Ray Searage is a bad coach.
No, I don't think. I think he's a solid guy. I think he's a solid clubhouse guy. I think a lot of people respect him and like him. Just being around the Pirates, I could tell. So, they always say the Pirates are going to fall to 14 and 15 after they lose tonight. It's in the ninth inning, 13-1. You can't win a World Series in April or May, but you can lose it, and the Pirates are doing a pretty good job at trying to lose things right now.
Yeah, I mean, the flip side of that is they've had a zillion injuries and they're 500. Here's the telltale sign. They've got 4 games now, 2 with the A's and 2 with the Rangers, before they go on that ridiculous
St. Louis
road trip.
Yep.
St. Louis, San Diego, and Arizona.
And I think they have L.A. coming up again, too.
14-1, by the way. Anyway,
Rich Rodriguez.
I'm saying
it's Fagley again. This guy is like a...
Is that who it was?
I think so.
So what I'm saying is you've got at St. Louis, at San Diego, at Arizona, 11 games there. If you don't go like 3-1 over the next 4 games, you could easily come back from that road trip down, 5 games under or something.
Oh, easily.
They've got to make sure that they win at least 3 of their next 4. I mean, obviously they're going to lose this one, but
Well, they still get a half inning.
Yeah, they got
Paul, but
rally caps for 13 runs.
I was thinking they needed to come out of these 2 series, this 5-game homestand, 3-2. I mean, they could still do that. You can still win 3 of the next 4 games.
I would say 4-1.
Well, I don't know if that's going to happen now, especially after the way they look tonight. It was demoralizing. All right, we got to take a break. We got some tweets we can read, and we got Jim on the phone line and a couple other phone calls. So give us a call. 412-575-2600 is the number. Whatever you want to talk about. Maybe touch on the Pens and trading Gino and other things that have been in the news lately. Back in a couple minutes.